about information of background. First of all, they have located in South Asia, second most populous country, also known as for diverse culture, language, and religions, and gained independence in 1947, now a federal republic. Next, they have world's largest democracy with 28 states and 8 union territories. For capital, they have New Delhi. For fast-growing economy, they have agriculture, manufacturing, services, and IT. Key cities, they have Mumbai, Bengaluru, and Hyderabad. For challenges, they have poverty, unemployment, inflation, and equal access to education or healthcare. The last one, for focus, they have development, job creation, and economic quality.
India has population 1.451 billion people that live in there. There are around 723.3 million men and 728.6 million women in the world. By the end of 2024, India's labor force participation rate (LFPR) had increased from roughly 42.4% in 2023 to 45.1%. Next, after this country recovery from the pandemic COVID-19, India's economy has also shown outstanding performance. The real GDP growth in 2023 to 2024 was 8.2%, but rate decreased about 6.4% in 2024 to 2025. Additionally, India is positioned as the world's fourth largest economy. Next, about CPI inflation. CPI inflation had decreased from 3.7% in 2019 to 4.95% in 2024. India inflation has stayed within reasonable parameters. However, food inflation, which accounts for a larger portion of the inflation rate at roughly 8.4%, is an issue for
Theory of inflation. Inflation means prices of goods and services keep going up. When prices rise, life becomes more expensive. This means money loses value. It can buy less than before. Inflation happens when there is too much money but not enough goods. So, more inflation equals to money worth less. Less inflation equals to money worth more. Example, what costs $1 before might now cost $1.50. Inflation is measured by something called the Consumer Price Index, CPI. CPI shows how much prices change over time. Degree of inflation. There's 3 degrees of inflation. One is creeping inflation. Prices go up slowly, usually around 2% to 3%, not harmful, so considered normal. Second one is mild inflation. Prices rise a bit more, which is around 3% to 4%. Can be good for the company, encourages people to spend and invest more. The third one is hyperinflation. Prices go up very fast, which is often to 10% or more. Money loses value quickly, big problems for the company, and people lose trust in money. Types of inflation. There are 3 types of inflation. First one is demand pull inflation. Sign occurs when aggregate demand, which is AD, exceeds aggregate supply, which is AS, at full employment. Effects of too much money chasing too few goods. The graph will be rightwards shift in AD curve causes price level to rise. For example, the economy boom increased customer spending and government stimulus. The second one is cost push inflation. The explanation is inflation caused by an increase in the cost of production. For example, wages or raw materials. The graph will be leftward shift in the short run aggregate supply, which is SRAS curve. Example, oil price shock which spike higher taxes on production. The third one, which is the last one, is built-in wages price payroll inflation. The explanation.
Next, I will talk about effects of inflation. First of all, they have unequal income distributions. Fixed income groups, which is real income declines, purchasing power weakens, struggle to maintain standard of living, greater financial stress and lower quality of life. Second, they have flexible income group, which is can raise prices and maintain profits. Income may increase during inflation, widening income gap with fixed income earners. Third one, they have borrowers and creditors, which is borrowers benefit, repay loan with cheaper money, and creditors lose out, get paid with less valuable money. For deficit in balance trade, they have domestic goods become expensive, imports become relatively cheaper, and decline in exports and job losses in export industry. Next, they have the amount of saving will decrease, which is value of money erodes, people save less, shift to other assets to previous wealth. Next, they have increase in investment and production, which is business reinvest profits to expand output, rising demand boost productions, and higher profit support economic growth. And the last one, they have inefficiency in output and decrease in the quality of outputs, which is inflation raises production costs, focus on quantity over quality, lower competitiveness in exports, and potential job losses in export-driven sectors.
Inflation happens when there is too much overall demand in the economy. To control it, government use fiscal policy by raising tax or reducing public spending to cool down economic activity. At the same time, monetary policy is used by central banks to limit the money supply through actions like increasing interest rates, raising the reserve ratio, and withdrawing money from the banking system. Specific tools include regulating higher purchase to limit borrowing, requiring banks to place more deposit with the central bank, and encouraging saving through higher interest rates. All these measures aim to reduce spending, lower demand, and bring prices under control.
There are inflation rates on 2014 and to 2024. The rate can change by inflation that happens every year. Firstly, 2014 is 6.6%, 2015 4.9%, 2016 4.9%, 2017 is 3.3%, 2018 3.9%, 2019 3.7%, 2020 is 6.6%, 2021 4.1%, 2022 is 6.7%, 2023 is 5.7%. Lastly, is 2024 is 4.9%.
The economic trend from 2014 to 2025 shows a fluctuating pattern with periods of decline, sudden recovery, and uneven growth. Before the pandemic, the economy declined steadily from 7.3% in 2014 to 2.9% in 2019. Surprisingly, 2020 saw a sharp increase to 6.8%, possibly due to financial support of digital growth. However, the recovery was unstable after that, with slight ups and downs until 2025. Overall, the graphs show how unpredictable the economy has been during this decade.
Causes of inflation. There are three causes of inflation. First, demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation happens when demand exceeds supply. Common in India during rapid economic growth, higher consumer spending, rising incomes, and increased government spending. For example, festive seasons often trigger higher demands, raising prices. Second, monetary inflation. Monetary inflation is caused by an excessive increase in money supply. It occurs due to low interest rate and printing more money. For example, during COVID-19 in 2020 and 2021, RBI cut rates and increased liquidity, but supply was low due to lockdowns, causing inflation. The last one is food inflation. Food inflation is a sustained rise in food prices. The key causes of food inflation is shortage of essentials like rice, weight ulcers, sudden demand during festivals, and panic buying during crises. The impact of food inflation affects poor households most and leads to poor nutrition and higher overall inflation. In conclusion, India's inflation is a complex economic problem that may be explained by a number of theories, including monetarist, cost push, and demand pull viewpoint, each of which emphasizes the distinct process or cause of price increases. Demand pull, cost push, food and material inflation are the primary forms of inflation that India faces, and they are all impacted by both internal and external forces. Reduced purchasing power, higher living expenses, increased economic disparity, and social unrest, particularly among low and middle income groups, are just a few of the negative consequences that these inflationary pressures may have. Maintaining inflation under control while promoting sustainable economic growth and safeguarding the welfare of millions of people requires a proactive and well-balanced strategy.